You guys hear me now? Okay. Um, Damn. Sometimes I switch over to another webcam for my piano stuff, so it you know. Anyways, like I was saying, sometimes you see these reaction videos, and it's usually just a gotcha moment, and it's not even so much the idea, it's just or so much the exchange is just like, I got you, I'm better than you, my ideas are better, and it's really like people fighting with two action figures and stuff like that. But I want to do it in the form of like, hey, showing you how human behavior, how things go, how uh how this interact, what it means, and how can it can affect you, this interaction, and that's why I chose this topic today, because if you see here, it went pretty viral, semi-viral, pretty fast. I got about like over 400 likes in a day, quote tweets. I got people attacking me, right? So if you look at it, it's very crazy how, and I think you see this stuff, and you wonder how people are like, still they don't see the forest for the trees. They just see that their ideology or their covert contract or their worldview is validated, even though there's really like the language they use and all that stuff, right? So let me pull up the video real quick. It's on my story somewhere. So there's this more traditional account. Nothing wrong with being traditional, right? The only wrong thing with being traditional is the covert contracts that come with it, right? We already talked about that in another video, but trying to see the video. It's somewhere around here. Um, blah blah blah. Okay, so this video was uploaded by an account called the Great British Bloke, which very popular account, more on the traditional side, family, God, country, nothing wrong with that, right? But what I did say is wrong with it is the cover contracts that come with it that don't hold any weight, and that's what's screwing men over. And then on display here is this Justin Waller, which if you guys don't know, I'm sure you guys know him, but Justin Waller is one of those, his brand is that he's a southern, he's from the South. I think he's from Alabama or somewhere, some southern state. And I've heard whispers he's come from a well-off family, so I don't know, but he's built a business from the ground up. I think it's a steel mill or steel business, right? And he's basically he came into the space already having his money and being established, and then his one of his things that he tells people is like, hey, it's closed on her end and open on my end in terms of how he does relationships, right? And cool, like I don't care. Oh, Louisiana, okay. I don't care. You can do your own thing, bro. Like that's the thing. I you know I had a recent very short relationship, like 2 or 3 months, where a girl was like, hey, I have a confession, I want to sleep with one of my friends at work. That's a girl. And I was like, okay. And we almost got to that point, but like, it can happen to an average guy. You don't need to be a millionaire, but obviously if you are Justin Waller, tall, jacked, handsome guy, and the southern woman's dream, right? That's very possible for you. And you probably, you have, if that's what you want, then you go get what you want. That's the point of all this, right? But in an exchange here with this conservative woman, which I don't know much about, I think her name is Lila or something. She's a anti-abortion activist, blah blah blah, all that, right? Very conservative. She's married to an army officer, and um, but at the end of the day, she is what she is, and if you guys have any sense of like understanding women's behavior and all that stuff, and the thing and the subtext and how they use manipulation to get guys to do things for them or to make shame them, then you'll understand this reaction completely, regardless of the ideas being thrown around, right? Um, And the thing is that like I simply retweeted. Let me see if I bring this up. Um, hold on 1 second. Is it present? Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'll bring this up. The video basically says try it. Try why percent right. There's one mass everyone still loading for some reason. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can hear this.
If you have only one your you want water.
Wired that way. I spent my whole 20s trying to fix myself.
But
Thought
you're
something
a
was
man of
wrong with me.
self-control. You do. You
Yeah.
can possess your own power and
It's just
do
not.
direct it the way
It's
you
just
want to
not how
direct
I
it.
am. It's not how I am. I've
You think that might be
tried.
a limited mindset?
I think it's none of your business, but I don't want you to think triggered about it or not.
Okay.
I saw somebody say that, and I think it's interesting. You're annoying. You know what I'm saying? You are. You're annoying in like this goody two shoes type way, and that's fine. I'm gonna live my life on my terms, unapologetically, like truly. So you can ask me this 85 days. At the end of the day, I'm doing the same.
There you go, guys. And then I so if you guys look at that, right? Um yeah, let me hold on. Yeah, sorry about that choppy internet. Sorry about the choppy internet, guys. It's just anyways, what I said was um that's a form of disrespect and manipulation, right? If you guys understand women and how they talk to us when they in certain situations, right? And especially when they want an answer or want us to like submit to their lifestyle. Well, she's basically saying is like, let's say you get home um, from a long day of work or something like that, right? And then your wife, your girlfriend, or whoever says, "Hey, can you move this furniture for me?" Right? And you're like, "Hey, I'm tired. My back hurts. Maybe tomorrow." And she's basically, it's the same thing. It's like her saying, "Oh, I thought you were a big, strong man. You'll go to the gym so much." It's chastising. It's a form of manipulation and disrespect, right? And people are defending her, and they don't see like, hey, you don't go to a guy that's a millionaire, businessman, a guy of his stature, and talk to him on a podcast and then expect him to be on your side, right? People tend to forget um that it doesn't, when you're what you're asking him to do, right? It's like you want a gotcha moment, but what you're asking him to do is basically to rethink his whole life, you know, rethink his whole life, and that's insane. So there's no way that she could have thought that, hey, you should. I will try to convince this guy. So basically, the goal was, it's a gotcha moment. It's like, I want to show you that your life, the way you live your life, is bad, right? And to give you some background on this guy or this girl, I think she said she was like Protestant, and then she had an agnostic phase. We all know what that means, agnostic phase, and then she went back to being Catholic or whatever religion she is now, and then she's super conservative, right? That's not to take away, maybe she's done some good things for people, but basically, this is the Longhouse, guys. This is like, why aren't you in the Longhouse, and why are you telling guys not to be in the Longhouse, right? What happens here is that people, guys that are their own point of origin, guys that say, "Hey, I want to get married because I want to. I want to have a rotation because I want to. I want to have 4 kids because I want to, not because of someone else or some ideology or some social pressure, right?" Um, women don't like when we do things without their approval, or they want, it's like they we need to their approval, right? And when a woman goes says something like that to you, like, hey, why don't you just settle down with one girl and all that stuff, it's basically saying like, it's an admission that can't I need to shame you into you doing what is right for you. I'm trying to take advantage of that moralistic part of you as a man that I don't have myself, right? In order for you to do what I want. That's called manipulation, right? And I'll give you guys a story. Um, basically, uh, last year I was seeing a girl very rarely. Like she would just pop up every 2 months, in my life, right? And she was okay. She was an okay person, but she just couldn't understand that why I wouldn't commit to her. And when I say commit, she's done nothing for me. Like she just shown up, we hooked up a couple times, and that's fine. I treat her with all the respect, right? But um she just every day or every other day she would message me, or like every week she would message me with some very rude stuff in the same tone of this woman, the same exact tone. And this girl was the farthest from conservative, right? She was a good person, but like in terms of how she talked to me, she just kept telling me like, "Oh, you're for the streets. You like to be passed around, all that stuff." Excuse me. You're for the streets. I'm like, I'm just a guy, man. I have a job. I have things to worry about. Why are you in my DMs? Do you want to see me again? Like, playfully, I said, hey, are you miss me or something? And then she popped up one more time in my life. We hooked up, and and this was her calling me like drunk in the middle of the night or at a bar, right? I went and picked her up, gave her some food, make sure she was okay, and then she stayed over. All that stuff, fun, right? Have fun. And then she just kept attacking me, saying, "Oh, you're for the streets. You're out here, all that stuff." And she also was probably out there now, even with. And then she got a boyfriend, and then she still would like get in my DMs when I posted something and say something mean to me. And then now it's gone, it's tapered off, right? But you see, this is normal. It doesn't matter. People look at this through the veneers like, oh, she's a conservative woman. Like, no, she is a woman first and foremost before anything. And women default to their basic behavior sometimes. And one of the bad behaviors of women is this manipulation, where they take advantage of our need to look competent and be moral in front of everyone, and undermine us and try to make us qualified to them, right? And this is normal, right? And this has nothing to do with the idea. Now flip it. Let's flip it, right? What if it was a more promiscuous woman, like what they usually have on the show, and then trying to tell a conservative man, hey, why are you just married to one woman? Why don't you go out and have fun? Why don't you have threesomes? Why don't you whatever? And then the conservative, the promiscuous woman or the OnlyFans girl, whatever, saying, you're a handsome guy. What, you can't get any other girls? You have to settle for your wife? That's the exact same thing. It's not about the idea, guys. It's about the behavior. And that's what I was calling out, because I don't care what anyone does with their genitals. I don't care. It's your life, but people need to understand that regardless of the ideas exchanged, regardless of what the stance of either person, that behavior right there is a female manipulation tactic, and you need to be able in your relationships to call it out in the right way and to understand why and what type of woman uses this. And as you can see, she's a conservative woman. She's covered up. She's very, she's an activist, all these things, but she's still a woman, and she still does this. And not only that, she still does it to a man she doesn't even know, right? She sees him as the enemy because he apparently is telling men to live the life their way, to work hard, but for them, right? I don't know if you guys are a fan of Justin Waller or not, but simply that's what his message is, right? It may not be the best or the worst or delivery or, but regardless, it's better than being in the Longhouse. So, all right. Um, FTM says manipulative codependency. Yeah, basically, um, conservative women, they're like, anti pornography, anti sleeping around. They want to be the sole. They want your libido and they want your sex drive to be theirs completely, like, like a controlling mommy. They want to hold your stuff. But as we know, there is no one woman is owns your libido. They have the first crack at it, but they don't own it at all, right? Understand that if you have needs, then she better step up to meet them. And if she doesn't, well, all bets are off. It's part of the marriage contract, right? If they're so conservative. But it's just a manipulation tactic that all women use, regardless of if they're left or right leaning, if they're rich, poor, all that stuff. It's normal. And you guys gotta understand that I didn't attack the idea. I simply attacked the 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 behavior, and then a lot of blinded by this behavior because they see they're, a lot of guys are conservative. We're in an election cycle. All of a sudden, everyone's political. Um, so they see this girl as like, team them, team sports. We're on her side because Justin Waller represents the dark void of like doing things on your own and living life on your terms. And I used to think like, oh, maybe they're just dumb or maybe, and I'm like, dude, it's okay to be I vote conservative and I believe in most of the stuff when it comes to conservative ideas, right? It's just that's me. I don't care what anyone else thinks. That's just me, right? But the idea, the idea that I need to go into an institution and I need to live life by an institution that I get zero benefit from, but it benefits the other person completely. And then when that contract breaks, I have no one to back me up. Instead, I get attacked and seen as a bad person. Like, why isn't the conversation, hey, guys, like, we understand why you're doing what you're doing. We wish it wasn't this way. We understand what you're doing. We're working to make marriage worth it, or we're working to make, we're lobbying for this, right? Which in itself is a waste of time, but at least, you come with a good faith argument, but you're telling someone who's probably been like through it all, because of his age, being a business owner, or whatever, right? And you do that, and then at the end of the day, you're there being chastised by some woman you don't know to tell you, hey, stop enjoying the spoils of your labor. Get in the longhouse like everyone else, like my husband, because I feel uncomfortable that you're out there making men think that they can do whatever they want, which is, in fact, the truth. Let me see. Brendan Tracy. Hey, man, I see you're in the Army. I think it's Army. Whoa, Army. My mom and brother's fiance take this tone all the time. I saw this shit immediately. Tradcons were overjoyed, though, thinking she destroyed him. Shake my head. Yeah, she didn't destroy him. The thing is, like, he didn't want to be there. He realized, like, this sucks. I could be doing something better with my time. And when he was on there, he was just like, hey, I think it was towards the end of the show. I don't watch that show, but towards the end of the show, he was like, hey, I'm I'm tired of this. Like, you guys have been attacking me and my lifestyle. And then you have the other side, all the Spurs on our side that are like, well, he should have said this, and he should have passed the shit test. I'm like, there's no such thing as a shit test from a girl you don't want to engage with, right? Like I said, I think I saw in another video that I said the other day, another live I did recently, which basically I said, if this was a bar scene and she was a hot 20-year-old blonde with with a sexy body, and he was equally tired, um, he would have played, because that shit, he would have been like, well, she's hot and she doesn't know what she's saying, but he's being his lifestyle is being, there is no reason to have to step up and be like, let me put on my player persona and pass the shit test. Like, no, I don't got time for this. Like, I'm tired. That's why he was like, listen, you've been asking me the same question. You've been attacking my lifestyle the whole day or the whole night. I'm sorry. I don't care anymore. You're annoying. You're being annoying, right? And then she's like, I got him. And like, you didn't get anyone. You didn't change anyone's mind. All you did was your followers like you more. Now your followers think that they're making a difference. They're not. Thank you for the chat, Brendan. FTM says First crack, not sole custody. Exactly. It's that, and that's the scariest thing for women because a lot of women, like for example, they're against adult entertainment. They're against men sleeping around. They're against men open marriages where the men, where men, it's open on their end and closed on the women's end, all that stuff, right? But what that is just it's a fear response. It's realizing that, hey, if I don't if I don't step up and please my man, even when I don't want to, which you always want your girl to want to, right? But you know, in the craziness of marriage, there are probably going to be days where you just don't want to, and I get that, I understand. But it's a fear response. So when women fear are in fear, they double down and they try to control everything. What do you think COVID was? COVID was that. So if you look at it, when a girl's telling you, now let's take us to our let's apply it to our lives. When a girl's criticizing you, like I was criticized by that girl for months because I didn't like, not because I didn't commit to her, but because simply I was living my life and being single and enjoying my singleness. And she still came back and we hooked up, and then she left and continued to talk shit. It's the same thing. You What you do is simply the best way to disarm someone who's criticizing your lifestyle, is simply tell them, look them in the eye and tell them, what are you gonna do about it? What's your plan to stop me? Remind them of the powerlessness they have. Right now, and then it it shows you that also the guys that follow her and that were like defending her and attacking me and attacking, I think Ryan retweeted it, Rolo retweeted it. Um, they're what they're doing is they have this thing where like they're also very very afraid, right? Because what guys like Justin Waller and maybe you guys in the chat and me represent is independence, not codependence, independence, and putting on the issue of marriage or relationships on us. We take responsibility, right? I don't, you know, I think it's good to be spiritual and believe in God, but that's for every man to decide. I think it's good that men go to church for church reasons, not to find a girlfriend, but to worship their God. I think that's good. That's positive. There's nothing wrong with that. And no one should tell you. That's what one of these things. One of the foundations of this country was religious freedom, right? But just realize that the church and God is not going to do the heavy lifting for you anymore in this society. It's gone. You have to do it. So when this mid traditional girl comes on and attacks and destroys a you know a player, a playboy, whatever, what have you, it's like, oh, finally, yeah, like that responsibility where I have to like become that in order to get the women that are like this. I can let someone else fight that battle, and then one day I'll just wake up and I'll have it's a it's a covert contract. And when you guys attack someone's covert contract and you show them that their covert contract is bullshit, that cognitive dissonance, they will attack you hard. They will they will attack you hard, and that's why we got that response. Baron Gaslight says, "What's up, Baron? How you doing today?" Destroyed, aka Miley Scully. Yeah, it was like it was an annoying exchange. It was like, oh, okay, like FDM says, enjoying spoils of labor. Yeah, like how are you gonna tell a man? And how are you gonna tell like you? I'm sure you guys have gone through some stuff. Everyone's been zeroed out. Everyone's have a shitty point in their life. Imagine someone you know telling you, and then you finally get a little bit ahead in life, and you have one or two girls, and you're like, man, I finally have to get my sexual needs met. I'm finally free. I mean, I'm not super happy, but like, like things are looking up a little bit. And then someone out of nowhere says, you should marry one of those girls, and you're like, not even they want to get married to me. Like, I don't know what you want from me. Like, and they're using shame and guilt like that. Isn't that insane? That's insane, and people don't see that. That's what bothers me. FTM says they don't trust men in general. No, they don't trust men at all. Yeah, let me pull up. Um, Let me see if I can pull up the tweet down here. I've been tweeting like crazy. I should probably log off for a couple days. Um, okay, so here's another thing. Here's another thing. Not manipulation tactic, but just a nothing burger that women do is that they start using this language, right? Like the language she was using to talk to him is also something they use where like for men when we want solutions, we want things to mean things, right? We want words to mean things, right? So when you start using words like mindset and love and freedom and change, those are really big container words where it can mean different things to different people, right? So if you can see, she caught on that a lot of us were attacking her, and rightfully so. But she goes on. She uploaded a video of herself with a monologue or diatribe, whatever, and she's saying, and then she said, "We are all broken people. It's attempting to get jaded. It's tempting to get jaded, but true love is possible. We each have the freedom to change, to grow, and to choose real love, a love that doesn't leave." Now, very, very, very cute, very nice little Hallmark card. But as a guy who's been through it all, who's especially, I'm sure you guys have been through your own struggles and battles, whether it be work, life, women, all that stuff, right? That doesn't mean anything to me. Love doesn't like I know what love is. I've been in love and I've loved women and women have loved me. And I know what it is, right? But none of this means anything to a man who wants solutions, who's trying to find a way through, you know. Um we each have the freedom to change, to grow, and to choose real love. That doesn't mean anything. That's just beautiful words put together so her feminized male audience and her female audience can feel good. Now I'm telling you, hey, they don't want their followers to come to guys like us and ask us basic questions, right? Like, hey man, how do I get laid? I'm like, okay, dude, get jacked. Okay, how do I get jacked? Here's some people that'll help you get jacked. Hey man, what do I say to this girl? I'm like, okay, well, first of all, you're not in the right state of mind. Hey man, what do I do? Hey, move to this part of the city. Hey man, what do I say to this girl? We're like nuts and bolts, cringy, autistic level of nuts and bolts explaining to guys what to do to get the girl. And then once we teach them that, they can do whatever they want with that, right? You can go get a girlfriend. You can run a rotation. You can go to a sex party. You can do whatever you want with that. And that scares people because now we're empowering people that they don't want to have that internal power, right? I know that's getting a little conspiracy theory-ish, right? But that's basically what it is. So be careful when you see people with this like esoteric language full of container words. Every container word is just taken away from the message, right? And that's what basically how this operates. It's all feel good stuff until they lose the election or until one of them whenever their worldview crumbles. That's when they start like, hey, like they get a divorce, like Steven Crowder did, or that girl, the politician Lauren Boebert, is that how you say her name? She just got divorced. She just filed for divorce. When those things happen, then there's a lot of churn because those covert contracts are broken, right? But here on the red pill side, we tell you, hey, this could happen. You can still have your traditional fantasy, but just know this is what could happen. So be prepared. That way you can get on with your life. These are the mental models you need to succeed. And neither person is ideology is wrong in that. The only problem is one of those people needed the other person to agree with him out of insecurity and for branding purposes. Brendan Tracy. Judging from how she acted, no way she respects her hubby. She was also shaming Waller partially because she liked him. I can change him. Yeah, and yeah, the female psychology goes deep in this exchange. Like, you could see that, like, there's like, it's just like the Beauty and the Beast fantasy that women have that they want to save men and change them and all that stuff, which eventually makes them unattracted to them, right? It's like, it's a dog chasing cars. FDM says true love, Longhouse alert. Exactly. Whenever you hear these like woo woo lovey dovey words and container words, run away. Like as a man, um, we want nuts and bolts. If you invite, if you see every single show where they have women on, and they go on these long, like rants or something like that, it's always like this language that I'm just like trying to decipher. I'm like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? What? And there's nothing. So when I like ask, what's true love? Oh, true love, this, and I bet you something with God, something with family, and I'm like, okay, but what if that's not for everyone? Or what if, you know, you don't need to? Do you need to believe in God to have true love? Do you not need to believe in God to have true love? You know, is it possible to enjoy a woman's company without her being the same religion or background as you? Like, tell me these things, because what you're doing is you're making it extremely hard for men to like come out of this mental prison that they have by giving them another one. You know, you're selling them the idea that, hey, if you go to church and you're a good man, TM, that you will find love. And I'm like, no, dude, you have to plunge your hand into the filth of dating, at least for a year. You know, you have to get rotation, you have to learn about women, you know, because even women like her are manipulative, as you can see. Baron says, and just because they preach, it doesn't mean they believe it. Yeah. Um, it's all brand, man. It's just branding. She is 100% capable of divorcing her husband tomorrow if she wanted to. But what do I know? But anyway, guys, I have a busy day, and I have to hit the gym. I got a long drive ahead of me. Gotta drop off the puppy at daycare. So a lot of things going on. So I'll make this one short. Thanks you guys for taking time out of your Wednesday morning and come talk to me. And forgot to put this up, but the T Rex emoji, very used in this area of thanks a lot, guys. Sorry for the muting in the beginning. I'll do better. I'm just got a lot going on in front of me. So um, yeah, you guys have a good day. You guys know where to find me. And I'll be doing these on um, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, let me know, and I'll get on that. Anyways.